as we've gotten more and more savvy with how to use protein to achieve a weight loss goal, there have been some major changes that you really need to be aware of, especially if you want to maximize for your fat loss results while also feeling great and fueling your overall wellness journey too. So today I'm sharing 8 major changes to eating a higher protein diet that you need to be aware of so that you can continue or start seeing those fat loss, wellness, and gut health benefits. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance. On my channel, I share the science-backed and delicious information to help you achieve your weight loss and wellness dreams without counting calories. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Today's video is also sponsored by Gem, but more on them in a bit. Okay, the first major thing you need to know about is called protein pacing. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, then this idea is not very new to you. However, it is new to a lot of people. And protein pacing is the idea that you spread your protein evenly out between 3 meals. This is rather than having like a couple of meals be really high in protein and others being low in protein, or having 6 small meals that are spread throughout the day that have an even amount of protein. By focusing on 3 meals that are evenly rich in protein, it really helps to maximize for fat loss, satiety, and gut health. It makes us feel really full and very satisfied, which makes it so easy to not snack on foods that won't support your goals. But on top of that, by properly spacing out your meals in this way and not snacking in between, it also gives you the double benefit of really ramping up gut cleaning and reducing bloating. And that's because when we don't eat for exactly 3 hours and 45 minutes, it turns on the gut cleaning process called the migrating motor complex. This flushes out left behind food and bacteria that would otherwise cause bloating. So the key thing here is to really watch out for breakfast, because breakfast for a lot of people tends to be the lowest in protein, especially when you consider foods like cereal or toast, or even sneakier items like protein bars or eggs. Second thing that's really important for you to know is to try and eat eggs, dairy, or meat at your first meal, aka breakfast. These are the proteins that are highest in a type of amino acid called leucine. These also just so happen to be the most satiating protein. Leucine helps to really kickstart muscle recovery and creation, which also helps us to prevent muscle loss. And when we're focusing on a fat loss journey, we really need to make sure that we're preventing muscle loss, because as we lose muscle, it slows down our metabolism and makes it harder to maintain or even continue seeing fat loss results. So logistically, this might look like having a breakfast of eggs with cottage cheese. Another option would be to have Greek yogurt with whey protein stirred in. Okay, the third thing we need to talk about is the 30 grams of protein idea. Now, most experts in the field, including myself, will recommend 30 grams of protein to have at each of your meals so that you can really see the benefit of protein. And it was also previously thought that you could only absorb about 20 to 30 grams of protein from a meal, making it so that you should really cap your protein at about 30 grams. However, a very recent study found that you could actually have as high as 100 grams of protein at a meal and still use it properly as protein. On top of that, studies show that the amount of protein each person needs is very individual based on your goals as well as your current weight too. It's said anywhere between 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or pound of protein for lean mass. Either way, if you don't want to do the math, I do have a free protein calculator. I'll have it linked down in the description below so you guys can check it out. But the idea is that if you want to see the best benefits, you want to also make sure that you're eating enough protein for you and your goals. Now, 30 grams is a great place to start and does cover a lot of people's needs, but by specifically finding out how much your body needs by using that protein calculation, that can give you more tailored data so you can see better results for your body and goals. And before we move on, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Gem. Gem is an amazing whole food supplement, and in the past, I've used their multivitamin. I still use that, but lately I have been absolutely loving their stress supplement, especially because I am a mom of 2 now. I run a business full time, and my youngest, who is 4 months old, loves to occasionally wake up like every single hour. So I could use the de-stressor. So I have been loving using Gem's Chill Out Magnesium Bite. It has 3 different forms of magnesium that helps to support muscle recovery, sleep, and mood. It also has lemon balm, which is an herb that's known for reducing stress and anxiety. I like to take mine in the afternoon to support sleep and winding down, especially because sleep has been a struggle lately. I want to make sure I'm optimizing it as much as possible. And my favorite thing about Gem is that it's made from whole food. So rather than having to choke down a capsule, which I'm always afraid that I literally will choke on a capsule, instead I get to eat a tasty bite that gives me amazing benefits and nutrients. And the Gem Chill Out Magnesium Bite is made with cacao, banana, and cinnamon. So it's warm, slightly nutty, and has a sweet taste. It honestly tastes so good. And you can get 20% off your first month of Gem with code AUTUMNBAITS at checkout. So make sure you head over to dailygem.com/autumnbaits or click the link down description below so you don't miss out on that discount. Okay, the fourth thing you need to know about is specifically timed protein drinks, not just post-workout. So most people, when they think of a protein drink, they often think of having it post-workout. And that's because it was previously thought that we had this anabolic window where you had to have protein within 30 minutes after your workout in order to see the benefits. Now, this also was debunked and found that as long as you're having enough protein within a 24-hour window after your workout, then you will still see the benefits of that protein recovery. And in fact, there could potentially be a few other better times to be using a protein drink instead. One is to have it after your last meal before you go to bed. This could help with improving sleep as well as muscle recovery. And it works by helping to stabilize blood sugar levels by having some protein before bed. And it also provides the amino acids that are needed for muscle recovery, which we do the majority of our muscle recovery when we're sleeping anyway. And then another great time is before you go grocery shopping. Having a protein-rich meal in general is a great tool before you go shopping because it helps to prevent those impulse buys that are high in sugar or processed carbs. Specifically, a fellow colleague in the space, Thomas DeLauer, has mentioned that he likes to take a protein drink before he goes shopping for that exact reason, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So you could do this by having a protein smoothie before you go to the grocery store, or you could have something like my protein hot chocolate. This also works as a dessert, especially if you want to have it after dinner to get those potential sleep benefits. It is so good. It has 18 grams of complete protein and 0 added sugar. If you want to check that recipe out, I'll have it linked right up here. I'll also have the recipe linked down in the description below so that you can print it out and have it ready whenever you want it. Okay, the fifth is to pair high protein with intermittent fasting, but make sure you do it the right way. By using this combination, you can really double down on the benefits of fat loss and gut health, while also potentially improving insulin sensitivity, which this combination does make it so much easier to burn fat as fuel. But it has to be done the right way. Don't just skip a meal with intermittent fasting. That can lead to muscle loss, it can lead to lower protein intake, and it can overall just reverse your progress. And don't rely on really long fasts. From my experience, I've seen the best fast range from 12 to 16 hours, with about 14 hours being the ideal for most people. That way you get the benefits of the intermittent fast while also getting the benefits of fitting in 3 protein-rich meals. I also have so many, literally like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of blogs and videos on this exact topic of how to use intermittent fasting the right way. I'll have the best one to start off with linked right up here so that if you are new to intermittent fasting, you can start off on the right foot. Okay, the 6th is to focus on higher protein to fat ratio. This is something that my husband recently accidentally experienced. I shared his whole story on the one breakfast change that he made that helped him really reduce body fat recently. And it ultimately came down to focusing on more protein and not as much fat. It's not to say low fat, but instead making sure that he actually hit his protein needs before then adding in fat. Because it is really easy to accidentally eat a lot more fat before you actually get enough protein, especially if you're eating a lot of foods like sausage or salami, or if you're using a lot of ingredients like peanut butter and almond butter. So choosing really high quality, dense proteins and focusing on those first before then adding in other fats is a great strategy to make sure that you're covering your bases. Okay, the 7th is protein diversity. Gone are the days of just having chicken breast and low-fat dairy. Instead, we want to get a variety of different protein sources because each of these different proteins have different benefits. Red meat is really high in bioavailable zinc and iron. Dairy is incredibly high in leucine as well as vitamin K2 and calcium. Eggs are super high in vitamin A as well as choline. Fish is an amazing source of omega-3s. And then beans, although they are not a great source of protein, are incredibly high in various minerals, as well as an amazing source of fiber. Now, the goal is to get a mix of all of these different sources so that we're actually getting the nutrient density to fuel our long-term wellness and health goals in addition to our actual fat loss goals. Now, the way I like to break this down is by having either eggs or dairy at breakfast, and then at lunch having the opposite of whatever I already had. So if I had like eggs at breakfast, then I'll have cottage cheese at lunch. And then at dinner, I like to alternate between different sources of animal-based proteins. So this might be like fish, chicken, or beef. And the 8th is to pair it with high fiber foods. High fiber pairs so well with protein, especially for health and weight loss goals. And that's because both fiber and protein are so good at helping you to feel full and satisfied and just make a fat loss journey so much easier. Fiber specifically helps to raise our satiety hormone GLP-1, which is that same hormone that weight loss medications like Ozempic are targeting. It also is crucial for boosting gut health and reducing gut inflammation. And when done properly, pairing it with high protein and eating enough fiber, it can just make fat loss feel so effortless, which is exactly what I recently experienced with my 15-pound postpartum weight loss journey. Now, if you're looking for numbers, I would aim for between 30 to 50 grams of fiber per day. Now, balancing out your protein and fat is something that is very important for seeing long-term success. And it was the major thing that helped my husband to break through his own fat loss plateau. So make sure you check out this video next for those details. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.